VITAL HOOPS. For the people, by the people. For the culture.
Peace. Jumbo. Welcome to the VITAL HOOPS Podcast, right here on Black Power Media Reloaded. My name is Fernando Cardenas, aka International XB. I am your host, and this is episode number 86. Today's going to be a quick one. As always, there's a lot going on, a lot of important things to talk about, but I kind of want to break this up, in two parts where, I'm going to be going over some of the things that are happening, some important things. And then in the second part, we're going to talk a little bit about basketball. So the story that everyone is talking about these days, first of all, let me just say, at this point, all of it is crazy, obviously, because no one should have nuclear power. You know what I mean? We got a handful of people playing around with these things, and it's just disgusting. But anyway, so after the U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear sites, Iran responded by launching missiles at the U.S. air base in Qatar, right? And also they sent missiles back to Israel. But another thing that Iran did, well, the Iranian parliament backed a potential blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. For those of you who don't know, the Strait of Hormuz is basically it's a waterway that connects the Persian Gulf to the Arabian Sea. But it's a choke point, right? Like one of the most important ones in the world. So this is serious. So about 25% of all of global oil trade goes through there. So all these major countries, they depend on it, on going through there to transport crude oil. So yeah, so as you can imagine, this is something very serious. So, this is nowhere near the end of anything. Now, me being in France, I know that, there's a lot of mobilization these days, which is good. But, like I always say, we also have to make sure we organize. We have to organize first. People should join, radical organizations. And yeah, but as far as France, they're kind of playing a game. They publicly condemn the U.S. strikes. But then at the same time, their stance is that they're going to be ready to defend Israel. They're going to be with the United States and Israel. So yeah, so that's what it is. We know what time it is. Know yourself, know your history, know your enemy. So anyway, we're going from one genocide to another. Unfortunately, it's crazy, but it's real. The Congo, we always got to keep our eyes on the Congo. Right now, there is some type of news going on that on June 27th, which is now real soon, the Congo and Rwanda supposedly have reached some kind of an agreement in order to stop the conflict in eastern DRC. Now, I don't know, I don't have much information, I'm sorry to say, but it sounds to me like some type of neo-colonial thing, but I don't know, I'm just being cautious with this information. But yeah, this is something that we have to keep our eyes on. Shout out to my organization, the Pan-African League Umoja. There's been a long series of talks, roundtables, focused on the Congo specifically, the Pan-African University, Umoja wa Congo, and the end of the cycle is now coming up this Sunday, June 29th. As always, it's in Paris, and we're going to be talking history of the conflict, diagnostics and mechanisms of predation, and of course, solutions. All right, I don't have much to say about the Sudan, just sending love to our people over there. The crisis over there is horrible. The genocide is ongoing. I know our people are in resistance in Kenya as well, so shout out to our people over there. And I did want to mention Togo again, because I got my comrades that's over there right now. If you didn't get to check us out last week on the Rise Up International Morning Show right here on Black Power Media, We spoke to Dwayne Omowale about the Congo. It was a great episode. Shout out to Dwayne Omowale. Shout out to the comrades at the Rise Up. And yeah, I definitely encourage you all to check it out. I'm going to put the link down in the description. But during that episode, I mentioned that it was going to be some movement in Togo again. This time coming up in June, I said 25th, 26th, and 27th. And my apologies. I must correct that. It is the 26th, 27th, and 28th of June. So a small piece of good news, positive news. Amron, which is the Togolese artist that was locked up in Togo, was released. He was in as a political prisoner and he has been released. So that's good news. But there's still a lot of political prisoners over there that need to be freed. And so, but yeah, these upcoming dates, 26, 27, 28, people are expected to come out strong and they're expecting Ford to leave, to give up power. You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of strength, love, and respect to our comrades, brothers, and sisters in Togo. We're gonna definitely be keeping y'all updated on what happens over there next week through the Rise Up International Morning Show. I'm gonna try to get my comrade on, but things are difficult in Togo right now, whether it is, power cuts, them cutting off the internet for people in order for people not to report what's happening. And also, they look for people that are spreading information internationally, and it can be dangerous to report from there. So, that's what it is right now. But again, free Togo. Salute to my comrades. All right, now it's time to talk a little bit about basketball. It's almost summertime, so that means, the season is over for most people in most leagues, and it's, summer tournaments. My favorite time of the year. I love summer basketball. I love tournaments. I love playing outside. That's where it all started for me, hooping on the asphalt. So it's a beautiful thing. Shout out to all the hoopers. Um, I did want to talk a little bit about the NBA, but before I do that, the Euro League has crowned a new champion. Fenerbahce out of Turkey is the 2025 EuroLeague champions. They beat Monaco in the finals. I was kind of rooting for Monaco a little bit, and Mike James over there. They got a great squad, but congratulations to Fenerbahce. And the dope thing about it is that Ekpe Udoh played for Fenerbahce, you know, and he didn't just play for them. They won the championship in 2017, and Ekpe Udoh was the finals MVP. So shout out to Ekpe Udoh. He was on the VITAL HOOPS Podcast, episode 26, and we had a great conversation. I encourage y'all to check it out as well. I'm gonna have the link down in the description. But yeah, shout out to Ekpe. So NBA, the finals are over. Went all the way to Game 7. Congratulations, Oklahoma City Thunder. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Finals MVP, regular season MVP. He had a great season. He deserves it all. He's a great ball player. So I can't count how many seasons, but I know it's been a few seasons in the NBA with no quote unquote American MVP. All that doesn't mean much to me because, you know, I don't see nationality as much of anything. So when you tell me that, like, Giannis Antetokounmpo counts as a Greek or as a European MVP, that makes no sense to me. He's African to me. So just like LeBron James would be. So, I don't really get into those debates because it's complicated for people to understand my perspective. But yeah, that's what's going on. There's lots of debates about that going on in the basketball world. One thing that I did want to touch on is these injuries. There was in these NBA playoffs, there was three Achilles injuries, and Halliburton in Game 7 torn Achilles. It was Jason Tatum from the Celtics as well, and Damian Lillard. torn Achilles, you know. That's horrible. We hate to see that. That's another debate and something to question because in the past 10 years, it's been a lot more serious Achilles injuries, and some people say it might be due to the way the game is played. So, like, there's a lot more mileage in the NBA. It's a lot of games, a lot of mileage. It's always been a lot of games, but before there was more of a half-court game going on and the scores were lower. So now it's just run, layup, run three-pointer, run back, run, run, run. So it's a lot of miles, and people are getting hurt. Another suggestion is that these low-cut shoes that the players are wearing, um, that is definitely a problem to me. I never got used to playing in low cuts, and I never will. I still hoop in high tops, maybe mids sometimes, but I can't do the low cut shoes. And I know that a lot of players are getting hurt, and almost all players are wearing low cuts now. So that's also a thing that could be an issue. I think it might be a combination of both of those and other factors as well. A lot of things have changed. It could be also nutrition. There's a lot going on with nutrition. Like, what I mean by nutrition is that we're eating, when I say we, I mean people in general are eating more and more processed foods, less natural foods, and the foods have less nutrients. So we take supplements, which is fine, but we still need that food. We still need that natural food is necessary. And, I know for a fact that not all NBA players are taking care of their body the right way, especially when it comes to nutrition. So that could be part of it as well. Uh, but yeah, it's a lot of factors. And I'm not saying that old school players used to really be into nutrition or none of that, but just the natural food was just healthier. You know, it's getting worse with time due to, the destruction of ecosystems and now all soil and water being polluted more and more every time. So, you know, that's one thing, like I said. There's one last thing I wanted to talk about. I've been checking out some of these podcasts when I have time, some of these NBA players doing podcasts and all that. And LeBron said something on his podcast. He spoke about the ring culture, and people chasing rings. And I thought that was interesting coming from him. I didn't really expect him to say that. That he was basically saying that for those of you that didn't see it, he was basically saying that he doesn't know when ring chasing became such a thing. And he was saying that, rings are team accomplishments and it doesn't take away from the greatness of players, etc. Which to some extent is true. But I disagree with that statement in the way that as a ball player myself, I know that's why we play the game. We play the game to win. Like, we love the game and we love and embrace the process and all of that. That's great, but we want to win and we want to win championships. We don't just want to get to the semis. We don't want to get to the final four. We want to win championships. No matter what league we're in, what I'm saying? All good players, competitive players, players that love and respect the game, they want to win championships. So it still makes sense to me that when we're ranking players, even if it's individually, we think about championships. It's just normal. But LeBron, for some reason now is, he wants to. But anyways, I just think it's silly to say that. Like, the whole point of playing the game at a high level is to win the championship, right? Looking at who are the greats, who are the great players, you have to take that into account. Now, I'm not saying that you can't be a great player and be ringless, like Patrick Ewing, one of the greatest centers of all time, doesn't have a championship ring. He's still a great center. But if you have to compare him now to Olajuwon, if you have to compare him to Shaq, if you have to compare him to some of these great players that were able to win championships, comparison is easy. If you have to compare him to another great player that doesn't have a ring, now it becomes more difficult, right? So, just my opinion. Before I go, most of you know I'm a Knicks fan by now. Unfortunately, my Knicks lost to the Pacers in the conference finals, though. I was glad. I was happy, man. It's been a while. The Knicks haven't been, really winning in the playoffs. So it was dope. It was a dope postseason, even though, with all this going on and all the work and things that I've been, personal things and organizational things, I wasn't able to enjoy all of it, but I was able to check out some of it and it was dope. It was fun. But yeah, looking forward to what the Knicks, are building on. As far as Coach Thibodeau, man, Tibbs, he got fired. Personally, I think he's a very good coach. But people ask me, because they know I'm a Knicks fan, like, yo, what do you think? I don't have an answer until I see who the new coach is. So I don't know if it was the right decision or not until I know who the new coach is. Now, of course, I would have loved Ime Udoka and I would have loved Jason Kidd. I think they're great coaches. I do think both of them would have been better than Tibbs at this point, but it's not happening, obviously. So I don't like the coaches that they've been recently interviewing. It's not good to me. But anyways, I'm gonna give y'all my two answers, two choices that I would like to see as the new New York Knicks head coach. The first one is Mark Jackson. You know, Mark Jackson, last time he was coaching with the Golden State Warriors, did an amazing job, set it all up, before for Steve Kerr to come in and just start winning championships. So Mark Jackson is a great coach. He's proven it, was a great player. He's a New Yorker. He's still up on the game because he got his own show and he still watches and studies the game. So I think Mark Jackson would be a great choice for a new Knicks coach. And the second one that I think would be super dope is Phil Handy. Phil Handy, I believe he doesn't have a job right now in the NBA. I know he does a lot of his own stuff as far as training and, certifications and a bunch of stuff. He got a lot of work going on, but I think he should be able to get a shot at being a head coach. I think he's ready. I think he would be dope as a Knicks head coach. He's definitely a player's coach, and I think that's kind of what the Knicks need at this point. So I think, yeah, Phil Handy would be a dope choice. But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I'll be checking it out. I'll be following my Knicks as always. Orange and blue skies, baby. That's what it is as far as basketball. Get out there and hoop this summer. If you're a hooper, get out there and hoop. I'm going to be doing that for sure no matter where I'm at. And this is it. I appreciate y'all. Oh, yeah, one last thing. Our Afro Vegan Fest here in Paris is coming back. The BESE SAKA Afro Vegan Fest is officially back for the second edition. More info is coming soon. I'll give y'all the date, location, all of that soon. But just know that this year, 2025, the second edition is coming up and sooner than later. So follow us on Instagram at BESE SAKA Fest. BESE SAKA. That's BESESAKA Fest. FEST. All right, I appreciate y'all, man. Make sure you go to blackpowermedia.org and subscribe. Join the movement. You know what I mean? Donate if you're able to. And make sure you like, share. We got a lot more coming. As always, free Togo, free Mumia, and all political prisoners worldwide. This is the VITAL HOOPS Podcast for the people, by the people, for the culture. Uhuru.